Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Let's take a look at some new malicious compliance stories, where people conform to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. The first story is called Great Idea for the Newspaper. I grew up in a small town in rural America. My town had its own well-read daily newspaper with a staff photographer who was somewhat of a local celebrity. As a lifelong horticulturalist, my father was strongly in favor of life plants and our home's landscaping. He loaded manufactured lawn ornaments of any variety. When I was a teenager, a very popular lawn ornament came into fashion in our area, known as lawn sheep. Basically, it was a piece of plywood cut in the shape of a sheep and covered with black, white and brown fur wool, along with other accessories that made them look like a sheep. They had stakes on the feet, so you could put them in the ground to stand upright. There were different sizes too, so people created little sheep families in their front yards. My dad hated the lawn sheep and often had snide comments when he saw them. My older brother and I were in the car with mom and dad one day, and we passed a football practice field, known to all as the East Field. It is in a small valley and very viewable from two busy streets. My dad pipes up from the driver's seat. Wouldn't it be funny if someone gathered up all the lawn sheep in town and put them down in the East Field like they were grazing? My brother and I locked eyes in the backseat and replied, "Yes, Dad, that would be very funny." Cue malicious compliance. Soon thereafter, my parents went out of town for the weekend, leaving my brother and me alone. On a Friday morning, we agreed that it was time to hatch our dad-inspired plan. I recruited another friend and we spent the day driving around town, writing down the addresses of houses with lawn sheep in their front yard. We'd record how many sheep, the colors and the sizes. We then went home and created address tags for each of the sheep, so the homeowners could get their sheep back after we rustled them. Around 11 that night, we began driving to each of the addresses we had written down. My brother drove the van, and my friend and I would run up, snatch the sheep, run back and throw them in the van. While driving to the next house, we'd affix the address tags with packing tape. We had scoped out well over 100 lawn sheep earlier in the day, but by 1:30 am we had only gathered 35. We decided that was enough. We parked near the end of the field and ran with as many sheep as we could carry at a time and planted them in a random group in the middle of the field. We returned home and looked up the phone number of the newspaper staff photographer and called his house at 2 am. Mind you, this was in the pre-cell phone, pre-internet days, even before caller ID was a thing. When he answered the phone, I told him, "Report to the East Field with your camera at daybreak. There's a picture waiting for you." "What do we have there?" he asked. "Sheep grazing," I replied, and then quickly hung up. They actually made it to the local newspaper. The next story is called Why Don't You Get Your Work Done? The manager before my current one was a right tyrant, hated throughout the department by just about everyone. She'd fly off the handle at the slightest provocation, and it was a real whipslash for me, because my previous job had a manager who was mostly absent. Part of his absence meant that he didn't care when we showed up or when we left, so long as we worked 8 hours and there was an unpaid hour lunch in there somewhere. Overtime wasn't getting paid, but the work needed to be done, so make it happen. I loved that because often I'd come in around my start time, skip my breaks and lunch to get more done and leave sooner at the end of the day. And I've always hated micromanagement. Give me a task, give me the resources to complete it, and listen if I think I found a better or more efficient way to get you what you want, but need your sign off. Cut to my current job, under the tyrant. She was actively trying to make me quit for a variety of reasons. It was a year in that I found out she had only hired me to fill the position until her preferred candidate's contract ended. Then she hoped to bully me out of the role so they could take it. Nice. One day she decided to nitpick my arrival time, even though she'd previously said she didn't care when I showed up or if I had to stay late. Same as my old job. The work had to be done and there was no overtime, so do what I needed to do, and if I needed an afternoon off, I could have it. But now, as she was tightening the nose, the hours are 8 to 4. She was big on reversing her position and claiming that was the position the entire time. I just about had it with her anyway, so I gave her exactly what she'd asked for. But there was no way I was being bullied out of this job. Came in right at 8 and made sure she saw me every morning at 7:59. Took my breaks and my half-hour lunch, which I normally skipped, and left right bang on at 4 pm. Cut forward a few weeks and she hauls me into her office because I've been falling behind. I shrugged and told her that there weren't enough hours in the day to do the job the way she wanted it. Well, another employee who has a similar position gets their work done. Yes, but another employee often comes in early or stays late and doesn't get paid for that extra. So why don't you stay late to get your work done? If you'll remember, boss, you gave me crap for coming in late in the morning and specified the hours are 8 to 4. You were very clear. That is the job you were hired to do. I used to come in early sometimes or stay late when I got behind and skip my lunches and breaks. But once you decided to give me a hard time about when I walk in the morning, I complied with your instructions. Maybe you should have thought of that before doing something that would lose you all that extra work. And I walked out. Never got in trouble for it again, though she found other ways to harass me for nearly another year before she was unceremoniously told to retire. As far as I know, no one was sad to see her go. Her replacement isn't much better. But she's acknowledged that she knows I'll stay late when I need to, so I've gone back to old habits and haven't gotten a complaint yet. The third story is called I'm the Boss, You Do As I Say. A few years ago, I was working in a small bar in a mall. I hadn't been there that long, but I knew the place well enough after a couple of weeks. I and a girl who had also recently started working there had made a pretty good team. We worked 8-hour shifts together almost every day and had a nice flow going on. The manager had been looking for an assistant manager for a while and had decided to give the job to one of the waitresses who had been there a while. This is when everything started going wrong. The waitress turned assistant manager decided that she was going to be telling everyone what to do and when to do it and how to do it. Now, the girl that I worked every day with and I had a good understanding of the day-to-day traffic coming into the bar. We knew when it was going to be quiet and when it wasn't, so we made sure to take our breaks during the quiet times. And never said that in the middle of our shift. We'd just take them knowing that we couldn't take them later or we would be leaving one of us swamped. So she'd go for a half hour, then I would one day, and then I would, and then she would the next day. The new assistant manager decided that wasn't right and that we shouldn't be doing that and that we should be taking our breaks in the middle of the shift. We both tried explaining to her that both of us taking a break at the same time was dumb and that it was better to do it now when it was quiet. But she knew better. She would take over bar duties while we were away. I guess she was seeing that it was dead and didn't think about it. Anyway, she really wants the bar cleaned, something we did every day anyway, but she wanted it done now. So we did. We didn't prep for the rush, we didn't do anything but clean the bar. About 2 hours later, the mad rush starts. There are 3 of us behind the bar, taking table orders for the waitresses and serving punters that want to sit at the bar. It hit bang on the middle of our shift and I and the girl downed tools and left the bar. The new assistant manager was like, "What are you doing? You can't leave now." I and the girl told her, "This is what you wanted. We tried to tell you, but you didn't want to listen. So it's break time, just like you said." We smiled, linked arms and went off to enjoy some food together. We came back about a half hour later. The place was in shambles. Turns out the new manager had very limited experience working a bar. She didn't know how the coffee machine worked, she didn't know how to pull Guinness. So the place was dead again, most people just going elsewhere. She was super mad, calling us all the bad names under the sun and that she was going to get us fired. Just an extreme rant, complete with finger pointing. And that just made us leave again. We both quit on the spot and left her to explain to the manager what had happened. We came back later on in the week for our final payment and to return the t-shirt uniforms. Had us sit down with the manager and gave our side of it. The manager wasn't impressed with any of us, which is fair enough. But I stand by what we did. We did everything to try and explain to the new assistant manager on the day, but she just wasn't for hearing it. She wanted things done her way and to lord her new power over everyone. I don't think anyone responds well to "I'm the boss, you do as I say." The girl and I became friends outside of work for a while, but we got other jobs and just kinda drifted apart as you do. The last story is called No Sales in This Area. I worked for a company selling furniture. The company had regular sales staff like me and had a special selection called the Design Gallery. The Design Gallery was for the very high-end furniture that was always custom made to order. We had select staff trained to sell it called designers. Regular salespeople could not sell out of the Design Gallery, but the designers could sell whatever they want. Designers made a good salary plus commission and the normal sales staff made just commission. The design gallery also had fancy wood flooring, so it was easy to realize when you stepped foot into that area. Now, displayed all over the floor, including the design gallery, would be fake plants, lamps, artwork and small stuff that was overpriced, had a good margin and paid a great commission. So the salespeople would have to walk their customers through the design area at times when showing customer accessories. For example, furniture would pay 2%, but these accessories would pay 10 to 20%. At some point this angered the design staff. After some complaining, a new rule was introduced. The regular staff could no longer sell out of the design gallery, period, and would need to hand off the customer if they wanted something. This made no sense to us and we largely ignored the rule as we didn't sell actual furniture out of the gallery. A few weeks later, management followed up on the rule and threatened to take away any sale we made out of the gallery. So if I sold $2,000 in furniture in my area but sold a $50 fake plant displayed in the gallery, I would have the whole sale taken away from me. At this point we decided to follow these rules to the letter. Anytime a customer wanted to look at anything sitting on the fancy wood floor, we called over a designer to help out. Have a question about a $30 lamp? Let me get someone to help you out. Want to know if that $60 fake plant comes in a smaller size? I get someone to help you out. We made a habit of standing near the gallery so we could call a designer to help out any customer that looked like they had a question. If you have ever been in sales, you know that most of these customers never bought a thing. I think the designers were hoping for easy sales of our hard work, but they were mad about being called over for every little thing. What's even better is a majority of customers, after being told we would have to get them someone else to help with that item in the design gallery, just decided that they didn't need it, so it actually hurt sales. It took several months, but after all the complaints and a drop in total month-end margin, they adjusted the rule to we can't sell designer furniture, but everything else was fine. And now it's your time to shine. Let me know what you think about the stories. Did they happen? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this?